Thought I would just give you guys a quick time lapse of just ripping this thing apart. While I'm at it, talk a little bit about the logic behind doing it this way. So, this is a junkyard motor, 100% complete, ready to drop in a car and drive. You know, connect the belts and hoses and all that stuff. So it has cylinder heads, valve covers, bolts. It's got all the stuff that you don't really think about whenever you're going to buy a short block. So I did the math several different ways on this, and this was a couple $1,000s cheaper to buy a junkyard motor and get it rebuilt. So that's why we did it this way. And you know, this is also a good chance for me to spend some time with my dad. So I got to hang out with him for 3 or 4 hours while we ripped this thing apart, and he used to do this kind of stuff when he was my age and gave us a chance to bond a little bit. You see there the spark plug. This thing's definitely got 200K on it. Here's one of my little tricks where I suck all the coolant out of the engine block. It works great on Dodge Hemis, but not so great on LS's, but it at least gets the water out of the water pump and all that kind of stuff. And if you yank out the thermostat, it helps a little bit on the LS style motors. But so that's why I did it this way. That's why I decided to buy a junkyard motor and rip it all apart. You know, to get a set of as-cast factory heads is going to cost you $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 to get them new, and you might be able to find a used set for $1,000. But then you've still got to do, you know, a bunch of stuff to get them ready to go. But so that's why we did it this way.
This is the last one, ready?
Yeah.
Clear.
You sure that's all of them?
Cool.
Yep, there it goes. Yeah, cheap gas, that's for sure.
That's a 200,000 mile motor, that's for sure.
With cheap gas.
I guess for 200,000 miles.
Yeah, it's just cheap gas. That's part of why we run E85 and everything. It cleans all that junk out. This is VVT. It can actually rotate the cam live, and on startup it rotates it so much that it has to have piston to valve clearance in it. But it looks like it's, I don't see any scuff marks other than regular
Wear and tear.
Yeah. Not very many hash marks left. But he's gonna hone it. And
You have to bore out sleeve or not?
no, I don't think it'll have to be bored. It's for sure gonna have to be honed. He'll re-hone it and then tell me what size it is, and then I'll buy the right size pistons for it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Clear. Oh, it's coming. Simple gas.
Yeah. Jeez, look at that. That's why you don't run cheap gas.
All that gooey stuff.
No, it's not even gooey, it's dry. That's why you don't run cheap gas.
Well, that's all I run in mine.
The cheap stuff, that's what yours looks like.
Yeah.
Have this kind of stuff is there's a bunch of little things that you don't realize you need until you're ripping it apart. And I've built several of these things in the past, and I just think it's the best way to do it this way. Another thing is I'm going to be posting the actual cost involved, like the actual dollar amount of this. And my goal is to keep the whole thing under 10 grand. So I've got a few ways to get discounts, but I've also got a bunch of parts here that I can sell now. So it has a brand new alternator on it. Maybe I can get 50 bucks out of that alternator. Maybe I can get 50 bucks out of the intake. Maybe I can get $100 out of the crankshaft. And that will all help me reduce the initial cost of getting this thing built. So that's another reason why I did it that way. But stay tuned. As I make expenditures and do things like that, I'm going to be posting in these videos the actual cost. I'm going to do the cardinal sin, and I'm going to track how much a build costs. But it's all for your benefit, so stay tuned and you'll get to see exactly how much this costs. So there it is, bare block. Not in bad shape. Definitely needs a rebuild with the intended purpose, but no complaints. Got what I paid for. Taking a motor apart is sure one way to turn something really small into something really big. But now I got a whole bunch of parts that I need to get rid of: pistons, crank, rocker arms, oil pan, cam, exhaust manifolds. Whew. Not bad for a few hours worth of work. So I'm gonna cut it there. That was the tear down. Hopefully the next stage will be going to the machine shop, getting all this junk cleaned, machined, and ready for 800.